The 2021 Belarus European Union border crisis is a migrant crisis manifested in a massive influx of Middle Eastern and African migrants to Lithuania, Latvia, and Poland via those countries' borders with Belarus. The crisis was triggered by the severe deterioration in Belarus-European Union relations following the 2020 Belarusian presidential election, the 2020-2021 Belarusian protests, the Ryanair Flight 4978 incident, and the attempted repatriation of Kristina Simanuskaya. The three EU nations have described the crisis as hybrid warfare by human trafficking of migrants, waged by Belarus against the European Union, and called on Brussels to intervene. President Alexander Lukashenko has ruled Belarus since it became independent in 1994. He won re-election in the 2020 Belarusian presidential election, though was widely accused of electoral fraud. Numerous countries refused to accept the result of the election, as did the European Union, which imposed sanctions on Belarusian officials deemed to be responsible for violence, repression and election fraud. The results of the election also led to widespread protests in Belarus. After the election, the primary opposition candidate Sviatlana Tsikhanouskaya chose to flee to Lithuania in fear of repercussions, which could have possibly affected her children. On the 11th of August, Lithuanian Foreign Minister Linas Linkvikius announced that Tsikhanouskaya was safe in Lithuania, while also acknowledging that she had few options. On the 23rd of May 2021, Ryanair Flight 4978 was intercepted while in Belarusian airspace and forced to land to Minsk National Airport, where two of its passengers, opposition activist and journalist Roman Protasevich and his girlfriend Sofia Sapega, were arrested by authorities. Following the incident, the United States, European Union, United Kingdom and Canada issued a joint statement on the 21st of June announcing further sanctions against members and supporters of the Belarusian government as well as Belarusian state-owned companies. These included individual travel bans, asset freezes and other sanctions. The European Union also banned Belarusian carriers from flying into EU airspace and imposed economic sanctions on Belarus. At the 2020 Summer Olympics in July and August 2021, Belarusian sprinter Kristina Simanuskaya criticized national coaches, who then tried to force her back to Belarus. She sought help at the airport and is seeking asylum in Poland. Lithuanian and the European Union officials claimed that the illegal migration was weaponized by Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko because of the international sanctions against Belarus, which were imposed due to election fraud, oppression of protests and forceful landing of Ryanair Flight 4978. The move is purportedly seen as a response to the harsh sanctions the EU imposed on Belarus. In June 2021, Lukashenko threatened to allow the human traffickers and drug smugglers to Europe. Later, Lukashenko talked about the possible emergence of armed migrants, which was perceived by the Lithuanian officials to be a threat. The Belarus-Lithuania border is described as poorly protected, often with low wooden fences or small ditches. Lithuania didn't have necessary infrastructure to accommodate large numbers of migrants. In the years preceding the crisis, the number of illegal migrants crossing to Lithuania via Belarus averaged around 70. However, in June 2021 the number of illegal migrants detained rose to around 470. Lithuanian officials claimed that Belarusian authorities were encouraging illegal migration from Iraq and Syria to Lithuania by organizing groups of refugees and helping them to cross the Belarusian-Lithuanian border. European officials blamed Belarusian travel agencies for helping illegal migrants. The majority of migrants were from Iraq, but citizens of other Middle Eastern and African countries were also among them. Their final destination is usually not Lithuania, but Germany. On the 28th of June, Belarus unilaterally withdrew from its readmission agreement with the EU. In July 2021, the number of illegal migrants in Lithuania rose to around 2,600. The Belarusian representative in OSCE criticized European officials for politicizing the problem and not cooperating with Belarus. Ethnic and religious minorities from Iraq are the most frequent category of illegal migrants. According to the CBC investigation, Iraqis consciously use tensions between Belarus and Lithuania to sneak to the European Union. It was reported that Iraqi TV repeatedly broadcast statements of Lukashenko about green light for illegal migration to the EU. News about Belarus-EU tensions were discussed widely in Iraq. Equally high attention to the news related to possible migration to the EU was also reported in Syria. It was also reported that Belarusian authorities spread the fake news to attract migrants and use them against the EU. It was reported that Iraqi travel agencies were organizing tourist trips to Belarus. According to RE.